And joining me now is Christian Leuprecht in Ottawa, military analyst and senior fellow at the Macdonald-Laurier Institute and the Centre for North American Prosperity and Security. Thanks for being with me today, Christian.
My pleasure.
Well, as we just reported, in the last few days, things have looked increasingly uncertain with loss of life on both sides. Do you have any concerns that this ceasefire can, in fact, hold?
Yeah, so look, I think what we see here is that Hamas is no longer a unitary actor. There's a bunch of different armed factions. There's armed militias, and it appears that there is cells of Hamas that Hamas is either no longer able to communicate with or who've decided to essentially go it on their own, perhaps sort of as organized criminal syndicates. And so that's going to make it very difficult in the sense that any violation of the ceasefire, Israel is going to hold Hamas responsible for. But I mean, and you can see that Hamas is going to exceptional lengths, including, of course, the exceptional violence that we would expect to see from this organization, disregard for human life, in order to continue to assert its presence and its dominance in Gaza.
When we hear of Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, the U.S. envoys, heading back to the region, what does that signal to you?
Well, that clearly this is very fragile, and so that it is only the United States and Donald Trump that can hold this together. I mean, it is Donald Trump effectively trying to make the case for Netanyahu getting sort of quasi-judicial immunity from the proceedings that he's facing, and at the same time really turning down the thumb screws on Hamas, basically giving Israel a license that if Hamas does not comply, then Israel will need to do whatever Trump sort of gives it license to do. But my sense is that Hamas probably wants the ceasefire to hold precisely because they're spent force. And so if they want to reconstitute and continue to be a dominant voice and force in Gaza, they have no option, I think, but ultimately to comply. But we're going to see many violations over the days and weeks to come, some of them smaller, some of them bigger. So this is going to continue to be very tenuous, and you can see that this can quickly unravel.
It was Trump himself who said that we finally have lasting peace in the Middle East, but if we are in fact going to move through phase 2 to a lasting peace, what will that take?
Well, I mean, a peace, in my view, is, of course, people being able to live in freedom and in security, prosperity, and with a degree of democracy. And, of course, both sides are, unfortunately, a long way from that. As Prime Minister Netanyahu put it, on the one hand, there's an opportunity for peace and for a new beginning. And on the other hand, Israel will continue to prioritize its security from the violence that it has suffered at the hands of Hamas. So this is the tenuous balance to strike as the Trump administration, I think, tries to bring Arab states, make them owners of the peace deal, and at the same time bring them into the Abraham Accords. But I think the more violence that Hamas perpetrates against its own citizens and against other militias and cells, the less likely Arab states are going to be to try to get implicated in the quagmire.
Christian, we appreciate your time and your insights today. Christian Leuprecht in Ottawa.